must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Associated to 2022, elections have dominated the political arena in Kenya for years and months now. President Uhuru Kenyatta, in the recent past, has warned people not to engage in politics, but engage in nation building and development. As much as the president has given these warnings, the people have not heeded to the warnings. The objective of improving the lives of Kenyans is the most important thing that you need to have. Kenyans need to have their lives improved. Kenyans need development instead of campaigns. Kenyans don't eat campaigns. Kenyans need health care, good housing, industries, jobs for younger generation, and above all, infrastructure to be able to transport the goods that they manufacture and the crops that they grow for export. It is therefore very important for the people of Kenya to understand that with development lacking, the country will not prosper. President Uhuru Kenyatta has emphasized again that the only thing that can bring Kenya to a world-standing nation, a developing nation, is prosperity through unity of purpose. If you are not united, you cannot deliver to what other people, other nations went through and got united. Look at Germany, for example. It had a lot of anger after the Second World War. But today, Germany gives us the loans that we share, that we Google. You Google a company in Germany and you get what you want. We also global their money, hammer it, eat it every day. Some of us through corruption, some of us through extended kickbacks. But Germany had more anger than any other country in the world after the Second World War. Today, it's a healed country. The only message that Kenyans can take from here is a redemption strategy. The only thing that can heal this country is redemption, forgiveness, reconciliation, restitution, and reparations. And above all, truth-telling and accountability that will bring about the word redemption, which is healing. So for now, those who want to have a better Kenya tomorrow, begin the journey now. 1 inch by inch, move together with your president. The nation will be a great nation. Thank you.
We were way ahead of them in our civilization. They set out to destroy us. And Berlin Conference put the nail on that coffin. So they gave Djibouti the same sovereignty as the United States. They gave Burundi the same sovereignty as China. They gave Togo. You see, the EU realizes individual little countries, they can't survive on the world stage. So they come together as the European Union. Now picture this now. So they cut up this Africa into the tiny little countries, small economies that could never survive on their own, but gave them the same sovereignty as the big boys. So that way, when the little bitty countries go to the world stage for the purposes of development and discussing trade, they're wannabe boxers who are being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring every day. How do you put China in the same boxing ring with Eswatini. Eswatini has 1.2 million people. China has 1.4 billion people. And you put them on the same stage and say, go at it, negotiate. Are you with me?
Yes.
This is insanity of the highest order. How have we allowed this carnage to go on? When Eswatini is thrown in the same boxing ring with China and Eswatini collapses before Eswatini even gets on the stage, the world says, well, Eswatini, what's wrong with you? Why can't you take care of your people? Well, China came in and said, Eswatini, give me all your gold or else. And if Eswatini does not agree, they just go on next door to Lesotho and give Lesotho an extra $1. And if Lesotho doesn't take it, they just jump on to Togo, Central African Republic. It was all by design. 1884. They did something else in addition to chopping us up. They also set out to make the African believe that everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything Western, particularly French and British, was more desirable. We call that the legacy of colonization. Prior to that, they had started long working on the slaves. Make them think everything about them, forget anything about Africa. Where you come from is a horrible place, diseased and dying people, constantly at war with themselves, uncivilized. Cut out any communications with them. You need to just know what we tell you. And we call that the legacy of slavery. So that's where you look at where we are today. 135 years later, a system that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated, that Africa is forever exploited, remains in place today, alive and well. And we sit here and we ask ourselves, why isn't Africa moving forward? Why does Africa continue to be taken advantage of? Well, I'll tell you why, very simply. Until Africa comes together as a continent speaking with one voice, one continent, one people, nothing, and I repeat, nothing is gonna change. As individual little African countries, we are wannabe boxers. We will never make it fighting against the heavyweights. We must speak with one voice. Yeah. And this is exactly what our Pan-African leaders wanted to see happen in 1963 when they came together in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They clearly stated that Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and that African Union was now. They said Africa must speak with one voice. It is the only way for Africa to take its rightful place on the world stage. Sadly, when they went to Addis Ababa in 1963, they were divided. We had two factions, the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group were saying Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and African Union now. This was Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Only 7. The other 25 of the 32 who attended were the Monrovia group. They were the nationalists. They said, let's go slow. Let's kind of wait on this Pan-African thing. 55 years later, 56 this year, we're still going slow. As if it wasn't bad enough that we were divided up into the tiny little countries that we are today. The gift that Berlin Conference gave us. One other thing that France did between 1958 and 1961 in the name of giving us our independence as African countries. France forced the Francophone, and I hate that terminology. There is no such thing as Francophone, Anglophone. They made it up. But for the purposes of communication, I will use that. 14 of those countries, they said, in order for you to get your independence from us, you must sign this document. You thought they could have found a better name for the document. The document was called the Pact for the Continuation. I repeat, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. We are talking about giving you independence, but sign this pact for the continuation of colonization in a different format. And I'm going to highlight some of those issues that they said you must agree to if you are going to be independent. Hello. Maybe we need to redefine the meaning of independence for the French. First, France said, you see, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. We're going to demand that you deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Minister of Finance. Under the French Central Bank, under the control of the French Minister of Finance. France is then going to take your 85% bank deposits from each and every one of you. Deposit those funds in the French stock market under the French name. And you may or may not know the returns. Today, as we speak, the latest figures are saying for every 14 billion that France invests in the stock market from Africa, they are realizing upwards of 300 billion in return. Every year in, year out, because of these deposits from the African countries, France is taking out of Africa over $500 billion. Now figure it out. For every 14 billion, the returns on the investment are over 300 billion, and they are taking over 500 billion. So in actuality, France is taking out of Africa trillions of dollars year in and year out from us poor people, Africans. Back to the pact. So should you want to access some of your money that you have deposited with France, you have to submit your country's financial returns. And if approved, you get to get it as a loan. You can only access up to 20% of your money year in, year out as a loan at commercial interest rates. Your own money. As if that was not enough. They said all your minerals discovered, yet to be discovered, all your oil discovered, yet to be discovered. France and French companies have the first right of refusal. If there's anything left over that the French companies do not want, your people might have. To this day. They said you will only use the currency that we created for you because you're special Africans. We call it the CFA. There was the Central African CFA and the Western African CFA, same animal. And that France is the only one that can print it for you. 1958. Fast forward. They're still printing it for us. And if you start misbehaving, they just stop printing your money. And your country's in trouble. They also said your language of instruction shall be French, whether you like it or not. That France will have military presence in your country. That your military can only be trained by France. That you can only buy military equipment from France. That you cannot have any military alliance with your neighbor. And that in the event of war, your allegiance is only to France. And furthermore, because they have military presence in your country, they can invade you without notice should they feel that the interests of France in your country are being violated.
Teach, sister, teach. Speak on, sister.
Fast forward, 2019, nothing has changed. The same people who have the audacity to tell us that we are poor countries, they are taking trillions out of Africa every year. And what is the African doing? Like an obedient, programmed black man, we just give in. We know the facts, but we just do nothing about it. Now, you have to say some of the fears are real, because the France that has sold you inferior equipment to theirs, France that has trained your military to be inferior to their military, they are now in your country. They can invade you. They have the permission to do so. They can destabilize you. And then one might say, why is it that African leaders haven't done anything about this deplorable situation? Well, let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, they have tried. Documented to this day, 22 coups where leaders were assassinated. France had something to do with it. The first 7, when they decided they were pulling out of the CFA and that they're going to print their own money, they were assassinated. Every time an African leader has tried to do what's best for their country, they were assassinated. Majority of them aided by France. It's a known fact. And then others, they were just mercenaries who felt that when there was a natural resource discovered in one country, they wanted to create a coup. So while the country is thrown into a civil war, they're siphoning the natural resource. We know of one particular story that had we not known about it, it would have been, oh, there we go again, the Africans. In about 25 years ago, a group of young, rich white kids were having fun in Cape Town. They found out that there was oil in Equatorial Guinea that had just been discovered, and they wanted it. So they set out a plan to have a coup in Equatorial Guinea. So while the Guineans are busy fighting a civil war, they will be siphoning the oil. But they made one mistake. There were 2 planes. One was to leave South Africa, stop in Zimbabwe, pick up more ammunition on their way to hunt in Equatorial Guinea. Another plane was taking off in the Caribbean that had this puppet diaspora who was supposed to be the next president. Mugabe wondered why such young people needed such powerful ammunition to go hunt in Equatorial Guinea. In doing his research further, he found out that this was a coup in the making. He allowed them to land in Zimbabwe. They loaded their plane, and just before takeoff, they were all arrested. The ringleader of that group was none other than the son of the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher. She had to fly to Zimbabwe and paid handsomely to get her son out. The last one of those prisoners left Zimbabwe about 6-7 years ago. Had these young people succeeded, it would have been another coup. There you go, the Africans again. Such, my brothers and sisters, is the story of your Africa. They don't do coups anymore. They simply create instability. So when you hear of an instability in an African country, ask yourself, what is really going on? Because what they are telling you is really going on is just a shiny object. The real issue is over here. And you need to stop before you start being used as an instrument of your own self-destruction.
From 1992 in Kenya, elections have always been divisive in the form of violence, in the form of malpractices, in the form of all types of gerrymandering that has led to chaos that we have seen that has engulfed this country since independence. The biggest obstacle of the Kenyan elections is a very simple way out. The obstacle is we have never changed the forest. We have changed monkeys in the forest. If you want to cure the Kenya elections, you get a cure, a permanent cure for the Kenya elections. Change the forest. The monkeys will not come to that new forest. Reforms and reforms have been done around the Kenyan elections. Rules, regulations, laws. Are these laws enforced anyway? The answer is no. Most of the people break it, go with it, create chaos after they have not been punished. So the basis of the BBI is to interrogate the chapter, the seriousness of why elections produce violence every 5 years. Why do people fight? Yes, someone would say they are linked with tribal cocoons that conduct themselves or take part in the elections. The answer could be clearer, nearer there. But the solution, therefore, to safeguard, even if it is tribal. South Africa has got the biggest tribe, the Zulu. But still there are safeguards in South Africa that have safeguarded an election. That the Zulus don't dominate the entire South Africa because the electoral systems are safeguarded by principles and institutions. The institution of elections in Kenya and in many African countries has always been the product and has always been an institution that produces violence. Everywhere on the continent, you see electoral commissioners confused in reading their election results. Some of them don't even know the results. Some of them don't know how many votes were garnered by both parties. To avoid this mess, Kenya needs to look completely and put emphasis on the electoral reforms that are needed so that in 2022 there is no violence in the elections that will be conducted. For this reason, therefore, I would urge the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Chebukati, to say bye-bye, because he has held several controversial elections that we have seen, including under his auspices, one election nullified in the history of Africa. Thank you very much, viewers. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. Thank you very much for your custom, for viewing, for listening to our words, for listening to our advice, solutions. We have tackled quite a number of obstacles. We've been in the studio this morning to go through the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, obstacles, achievements, and a way forward. Today, don't get shocked, I'm dressed. This month is Christmas month, and therefore I encourage people to behave, to pray to Jesus Christ, to God for giving us a son who has to be conceived. And I think it is very good in order that during the conceiving period, we address it. We should not wait only for that day. Christmas, December is always the final kick for our difficulties, our problems, our obstacles. But we push on. Africa will not go down. We shall not. Africa will not surrender to anybody. Africa will remain the same. Africa is our place, is where we are. We can put on sanctions. You can sanction us. You can tell us. You can sanction Zimbabwe. But Zimbabwe remains the country in Africa. You won't take it to America. Zimbabwe will remain the same. There's no way you can sanction us and you think we shall be part of America, or we shall be part of Europe. No. That's why God separated us with waters. Very clear. He never wanted to join us with you. So the sanctions that you put on countries on Africa, in Zimbabwe, and other places in Africa where you have strangulated, political strangulation in order to deliver a regime change, will not join us with you. You will be the ones coming to take our resources. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, viewers. With me in the studio is none other than Miriam Ogutu.
Good morning. You look very nice.
Wrapped up.
It's like a gift wrap.
A gift wrapped up.
So what we're missing now is just a Christmas tree next to
Yes. Instead of having a Christmas tree behind us in the studio, yes. I have Christmas to myself.
Yes. Yes, you really.
We are here. I am here. The tree is here.
You brought in the festive season with you.
Yes.
Very well.
That's what it is. Yes. When God has kept you up to this level, I tell you, Miriam, you must always keep it up to the game. Thank you very much. This morning, we shall be looking at the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. And then later on, Miriam will bring me up to speed with any African topic that you want me to discuss. But mainly look at Zimbabwe. You told me $10 million. President Mugabe left behind $10 million.
Yes.
In cash.
People are shocked because they thought he had more money, because there's a report from WikiLeaks that said he had about $1 billion in total of all he had. But
yeah, it now goes to what I told you. When they closed President Mugabe's account in Europe, there was only £10,000 that was found there. £10,000 after all 28 years. 20 by then it was 22 years. They only found £10,000. I still have a document from the Barclays Bank, Piccadilly Circus branch. That's all. That's what the man had. And usually when you are in power, they tell you, oh, this was, Abacha has this, and I've stolen this. That shows that's what I've told you. You can give us sanctions, but we shall never be a part of you. You have to treat us as a global village. Which type of president is this? Who does not know that the climate change is serious?
Are you talking about Trump?
Yes, that man from that Trump is a Trump. You look at that guy. He says there's no climate change. It's a hoax.
It's a hoax, yes.
That's what Trump says. But Katarina is about to run. As when the sea heats up, is America going to suffer more? We don't have Katarinas. We have just Andai.
The cyclone.
Yes, cyclone Andai, which is mild. But at times it comes heavy because of also China and other emitting quite a lot of carbon within the space.
China leads, yes.
Yes. So if you are a madman like Trump, and you go on telling people that there is no climate change, there is no thing like heating, when the snow that we used to have does not come, it comes for only a week.
Even places like Iceland.
Yes, Iceland are melting.
Affected, yes.
So this is the situation that we are facing. The world seems to be coming to a very conclusive end, with people, presidents of a first world country, behaving like they are in a banana republic and making America look like a banana republic. Can you imagine a president going to steal material from another country? A president of the United States to be investigated for having corruptly and tried to bribe Ukrainian president to investigate his opponent. Can you imagine? Where ethics? Where ethos? Now, when we come to BBI in Kenya, we are still discussing ethos. But this is a country of 255 years of independence, almost 260. America is stealing information from Ukraine. A whole president is directing the theft of this information. So, viewers, that is it. But let's narrow down now to the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Test it.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us across the world. And I see a lot of our viewers here telling us talk about Amazonia, Biafra, and we have some news from those places and indeed other places across the world, from Gabon, latest from South Sudan, from Sudan. Doctor, did you know that they're plotting to charge Omar al-Bashir for the coup that happened in 1989 when he got to power? Sudan is looking to give him a life sentence over that. I have more details. You're shocked.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
If Sudan law can take...
But who is pushing for this?
It's Ali Mahdi. Is Ali Mahdi the former prime minister? You see what is happening in Sudan right now is the Islamists versus moderates.
The rest of Sudan, yes.
It is Saudi Arabia, Qatar relationship in Khartoum. That relationship is going to create a volcano.
It is.
In Khartoum.
It is.
Saudi Arabia on the other side, across the eastern part neighbor, wants to influence the situation in Khartoum. Qatar also is there. UAE are there. On the other part, the upper animal, the biggest animal that you see on top is called France. The hovering hawk. The hawk that is looking for the oil, that wants to drill oil in stable conditions, is France.
But it should.
And another country that has become so bad in Europe is Norway. Norway, we thought Norwegian aid and so on, these people, but I think they have a habit. There is some syndrome or traitism. Some trait of a mentality similar to the Dutch. You have seen how Norwegians tried even to harass Kenya not to be included on IMO, International Maritime Organization. Defeated.
And I saw
Norway was pushing.
Our maritime PS, Nancy Kachungura, something like that. I think she won again as the East African representative there in the maritime. So yeah, and Norway also has a lot of interest in oil and has the best drilling companies. I didn't know across the world. So that would explain what they're doing in Somalia and their interest there.
We are under threat. And a very serious threat. But I have got a very nice message from Amazonia. Someone from Amazonia has reminded Amazonians who have left me that I was the first person to open these doors internationally for them. That Dr. Sako today was sworn in, and thank you, Dr. Matsanga, for having been the first to see Amazonia as a nation.
Was sworn in as the what?
The president
of where?
Amazonia.
Dr. Sako, not the one in jail.
No, she's in jail. There must be somebody acting.
Okay.
There must be somebody working.
But that is on paper. But on the ground, are things different now in Amazonia? Maybe you should give us more information.
No, but they need the political. They need the political. You can be different on the ground when you have no political. Who will know that there is some difference on the ground?
Some leadership on the ground.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't fight a war like a coin. Just go and kill people, kill. Then you have nowhere to go. Eh? When time comes, you can't even jump one river to go anywhere. You need political management. And you see the world is staging a position for a new state. When you see all the secretary generals of all big organizations zooming, the Francophone, Commonwealth,
Yes.
African Union, we are heading to a new state. And that state is about to come. So you need a political management of a situation which can now direct for accountability.
But also, you know, the elections are gearing up in Cameroon next year in February, and the other opposition parties have refused to participate in the election
to elect what?
Until they find peace in the Anglophone region.
You participate to elect who? Bia is a thief, is a murderer, is supposed to be dead. He's murdered so many people. So what are you participating in an election to do what? No, there are some people in Africa who confuse me. They either go in this election because they want money. My men in Uganda, for example, my opposition friends in Uganda, why do you go to this election? You are the one going to cause more problems. If you feel that the election is not credible, it has not been, boundaries have not been looked, constitutional reforms are not there, don't take part. That's why the Bazungu are better than us. 100%. Bazungu beat us here. Bazungu will organize and say we are not taking part. You go ahead.
Even Algerians have refused to take part.
Algeria, because they are near Bazungu. They are near Mediterranean seas, they smell that air. Sisi iko indani kwa part of Africa. We are fighting. We are saying this. Basically, is telling us 6 years, 6 terms. We give him a chance 6 times. Go, and go again. See, this is the message now. Look at him. If he wants to go again, and the same field has not changed. The forest is the same. So what are you going to reap there? Just abstain. And it is very good to abstain on election day. You sit at home. Have you seen what the Tanzanians did? They sat at home. They are well organized in democracy.
And CCM won 99%.
Hey, yes.
But what will that do?
You know what, Mama? Let me tell you. Don't waste time with standing for an election with Museveni. He will win by 12 midday. The NRM will win by 12 midday. You will see. It is February next year, 2021. You will see. Why? Reforms were, the Supreme Court in 2016 ruled, and I can quote it without looking at the documents, because that is my field. The Supreme Court ruled that although there were a few difficulties in the elections, the few difficulties did not mar the entire electoral presidential election. Therefore, President Museveni won the election. But he said, however, these are the Supreme Court of Uganda. However, the following should be done in future elections. It is like what Krieger told the people here. We are coming to it now. Have you seen what Krieger told the people, making Ruto sweat, making everybody sweat, making MPs going to Kajiado, another group goes to Embu, Krieger.
I hear another one is going to Mombasa now.
Another one goes to Mombasa, Krieger. Hallelujah. Those who don't hear, let them suffer the pain of not hearing. Kurigina told you, you don't have any problem as Kenyans. You have only one big problem, which always sparks the rest. And then the people go back to their tribes to stand by tribe to start killing each other. That problem in Kenya is elections. Full stop. If you manage your elections, you are the best people on planet Earth. You see Ruto running, he's this way. He's already opposing because Raila is this way. Kurigina. The same in Uganda. The Supreme Court told the people of Uganda in 2016, you know, for me, I don't want to fall a victim of stupidity. Honestly, I wouldn't like to fall a victim of stupidity because I've read 3, 4. In fact, I got graduation will be next February in London. Those who want to attend can attend. Another degree, master's degree in project management. You know, why should I argue with a 1 degree man? What for? That you go to argue with Museveni. For what? The guy is going to win by 12 midday. Basically, is making Ugandans. This Bob Wine is making Ugandans to be beaten, to be killed. Police will come. You know what? I don't want to be a party to where people beat each other. Let them beat each other. Because they formed the same system. They were told by the Supreme Court that before you go to another election in 2021, the following things in Uganda should be there. Electoral boundaries, reform the electoral law itself, strengthen the electoral law. These things, amendments, have not even arrived closer to the parliament shelf.
Have not even started.
They haven't started. Mm-hmm. There is a gentleman called General Tafire who apparently started law in the bush, and he handles it the bush way. So why do you go there? Wazungu beat us, and Matanga for me, as long as peace is in Uganda. I don't want to bother about the politics. Hear me today. As long as Ugandans are peaceful, as long as northern Uganda is peaceful, as it is, it's not my mandate to feed the people. My mandate was to bring peace. And I did. This whole thing of running around is just to deceive George Soros and get a few dollars and then build another house or buy another farm. This is what opposition leaders in Africa are doing. Look at that one in Zimbabwe. That small one in Zimbabwe. What is his name? That is, they call it Changa. What is his name? I don't... What's the name?
His official opposition leader.
What?
Chamisa.
Oh, that Chamisa. A man who should be in school. He should be schooling on how to handle files. He's a very good guy on ICT. He could be teaching Africa how ICT can impact their lives so that we produce more fish. Have experience before you think of running a country. You can't run a country with a population that is 99.9 literacy rate like a Zimbabwe. When you are like a Chamisa, you are wasting your time and the time of the people of Zimbabwe. You are only trying to get some little dollars from Mr. Chamisa is getting dollars from Vanguard Africa, Jeffrey Smith, who is always in Dar es Salaam and Botswana and South Africa, channeling funds to destabilize Mnangagwa. That's all. There is nothing. The people of Zimbabwe, to elect such a malcontent will be worse Zimbabweans went to the universities all over the whole world. They used our passports to study, while we, the owners of the state, did not study. They went back. So a man like Chamisa cannot even, if you give him Zimbabwe now, and just throw it to Chamisa, it will go to dogs. It is better the army. It is better the Mnangagwa group to hold while they do some miracle reforms that will come. But America does not want to allow them to do that. Why? Wait. Why? Why is America telling Zimbabwe government that we need you to allow a demonstration in the streets of Harare before we remove sanctions? Silly. While in America, a president is stealing quietly, silently, secrets. And when people demonstrate to climb over White House, they are chased by dogs, big dogs like this. They beat them at times. If you play about and break things in America, they will beat you up. There's no police that does not beat in this world. Show me. Even that British police. If you bring problem, they will beat you. Wanakupata kokona mzuri hiyo, haki, watakupiga. I've told you that in Britain there are two types of police. Big one, like bigger than me, double me. When they know there's trouble there, they bring a double man who sits on you and you breathe slowly. Yeah? That police is there. What is happening is double standards. I'm sorry we have gone into your subject.
No. I like that, and
but I want to bring you there.
I want to bring up
because you brought it. Why is Africa having this problem? Elections.
But you just mentioned double standards there, Dr. Matsanga, and perhaps when you compare Uganda and Zimbabwe, a story like you've been saying, and what is happening in politics in Uganda, they're preparing for an election, and why Besigye and others should not be part of this election. And also you've castigated Besigye here because he was part of the ruling elite, and he was part of President Museveni's leadership, and also these laws that are affecting him right now. He was part of the people who crafted these laws. Okay, that is fine. So he shouldn't cry foul. And now we go to Zimbabwe and you see somebody like President Emerson Mnangagwa, and some problems that some Zimbabweans have been having with him is because he was part of the leadership of Robert Mugabe, and they're feeling he cannot bring the change that Zimbabweans want. So what is the double standard? So why should he be okay for
Zimbabwe's problem? Zimbabwe's problem is not the problem of Mnangagwa.
It's not the same problem.
No. Zimbabwe's problem is the problem of the West. The West have heaped sanctions on Mnangagwa. The West have refused. America has refused Zimbabwe to trade in its diamonds. Is that a problem of Zimbabwe? Has Zimbabwe told you that it's rich, is poor? No, it's not poor. Zimbabwe is rich. It can sell. If you allow Zimbabwe to sell its diamonds, it can be able to buy its medicine in the hospitals. America has refused and gazetted it, put an embargo on any trade of diamonds from Zimbabwe. Stupid. It's not worth it. It's killing the people. People are dying in Zimbabwe because of measles. What they have done now, they have gone across back here, and now, they have relaxed visas for Zimbabwean doctors to leave. You see, they are doing a silent regime change on Zimbabwe. And they are using satellite states around Africa. And when you see, the problem that people have is to say Mnangagwa, it is Mnangagwa. It's not. Even if it was Chamisa today, he could not return Zimbabwe to where it was. It will take time. Mnangagwa wants to return it. They bring this. They bring that. They bring that. They bring that. To pull him back. George Soros has surrounded the entire Zimbabwe. George Soros is in Lusaka. George Soros is in South Africa. using South African group, a mercenary group there, to try to train people to come to destabilize Zimbabwe, using a South African Litigation Council to fund the opposition inside Zimbabwe. You see, there are so many things they are doing against this state. Using NGOs. Look, intermediaries are used in Africa. Election, once the Supreme Court in Africa decides, that's the end. Let's learn to accept. If the Supreme Court of Republic of Uganda said, although there were mistakes in the elections, the overall picture was not marred by those mistakes. Therefore, let's wait for another 5 years. How are we going to nurture democracy? By patience and being tolerant. But then you come out of that and say, I am coming for you on the streets. I'm going to fight you. I want you to come out and destroy the property. Kuja, come and destroy the property of the people of Zimbabwe. They are already impoverished by the problems that they have.
They're crippled.
Then Chamisa, a younger man of 40-something years, who doesn't know how a file cabinet works, wants to call people to kill others, then he can ascend it to power. Elections.
Is it about age here, or is just because Barack Obama became a president of the U.S.
Don't forget, Barack Obama became a president when his children had a nanny.
That is not the point.
No, the point is they had a nanny. There's a social structure in America.
Even here,
that's why Barack Obama was organized. Barack Obama became a senator.
We are looking at the age factor.
Look at it. Yeah, the age factor is very important, Miriam.
He was in his 40s.
He was in his 40s, but the structure that he grew in is 20 years ahead of him. The structure in Africa is not there. For example, if you ask Chamisa, go and borrow the money from China, and then come here and do the planning, what will he do?
We can't judge him on that.
No,
he's not been given an opportunity to prove that he can do it.
I am judging him on the seriousness of that he cannot, because he has never run a government. He has never run a government. If you tell me Tendai Biti, yes, he's a minister, he's an accomplished banker. But Chamisa is not an accomplished banker. He's not even, he doesn't know what policy is. Very little. If you tell me that Bob Wine knows a policy, you are lying. You are lying. If you tell me that Bob Wine, even in parliament, he has not spoken to pass one motion. He went to parliament to fight, to take these microphones and fight. So, tell me.
He will look for autocrats, people who will help him run.
Why should we look for others?
Because we've had even people in Africa who qualify and have all those rosy, wonderful credentials.
Let me tell you.
What have they done for the people of Africa?
This culture, my dear sister, the culture of African opposition, going to pick money from George Soros, an agent of CIA operations on Africa. Ask me why America cannot issue a warrant of arrest for money laundering for Mr. George Soros. And why do America comes to here to issue warrants and to embargo people in Uganda, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, for even not anything they have done to America?
I think there are double standards there.
Yes, that's the word I was waiting for you to bring back.
How they apply, but also we have our own double standards in how we choose our leaders. When it comes to certain people, we look at, okay, so this is when we apply certain things, and we see it play even here in our local politics. I say when it's a woman running, that's when you'll bring the fact that she's divorced, she's not married, she doesn't have this and that. But when a man is running, then it's different how they're perceived. So I think there are also double standards in how we we look at our leaders and
The divorce.
the world.
The divorce. If you have a divorce, then you can't manage much affairs.
That is not true.
Yes.
That is not true at all.
We can bring that topic, Miriam. If you want to argue on that, you can bring the topic on another
Maybe
subject.
the marriage is toxic. You cannot stay
No,
there.
but you can't manage. Now there is this woman in Kenya
That is not true.
called Cherotiti. Somebody, say or whatever, call her. She's going around insulting Uhuru Kenyatta everywhere. Everywhere on TV.
Is it the lady? On
Let me tell you. Wait. Behind any successful woman, there must be a successful man. Can we agree?
I'm not.
And vice versa.
I'm not sure about that.
You can have a family and which helps each other. You help your husband, you help your wife. But if you are going around, for example, look at what this lady is doing on the legacy. He says the BBI was brought by two families. That's what the woman is saying. And the television stations are giving her hair, which is all right. There is democracy. Let her vomit. But the worst thing is this. Do you know she turned around and said she did not even read the BBI? She did not even want it. Then why do you discuss it when you did not want it?
I think on that she's wrong.
And then one good youth, man from Kisumu, that younger man, wherever I will find you, I will give you a job. He stood up and said, my dear, those people who are saying that the BBI has nothing are naive. It has 9 points. BBI is a report. BBI, a report direct says this can be, this can be, this is it, this is it, this is it. From 9 points, corruption up to security, ethos, divisive elections,
Inclusivity.
all those type of things.
Responsibility and rights.
Yes. Safety and security.
Exactly.
All these are 9 points that affect Kenyans. Today we are running in the water. We are running in water, dodging water. I went somewhere last night to a restaurant. Someone called me at night to go and see him. I found the restaurant, water is coming inside. And the owner of the restaurant, I don't want to mention the name, is a very high person in this country, who is the owner of this restaurant. And guess what this owner said? Have you got gum boots? Have you got gum boots to go out? I said, is this, where were they? They did not, we as Africans, we did not even go to the gutter. What are they called? The
drainage.
The drainage. A whole hotel of that magnitude. He did not, when there was sunshine, did not tell the workers that call these drainage guys to check whether the drainage is full or not. The water, I left the water coming slowly. I said, this could be another disaster because although I know how to swim, I better go away and stand very far. And I looked at this lady, I said, oh my God. And these are well-educated people.
But no, it's been flooding. You see, in Italy, it's been flooding. Even I think the parliament and everything.
It is flooding, but so, the flood goes in.
And they're better than us.
The flood goes in about. Go to Nairobi. Nairobi City now. Where is you want people to walk and not drive? Where's the pavement? Where is the pavement? Where is the pavement? That's the Africa we have.
The major roads have pavements.
Where are they?
Moy Avenue.
Where?
You don't walk alone.
I walk.
I walk.
That you have no pavement. That's a veranda, not a walking pavement.
Yes.
Please, let's get the English corrected. You are an English lady yourself.
I've seen pavements in the city Nairobi, so I walk.
You have seen pavement.
They have improved over time. Yes.
Okay. Where now? What about the drainage under?
That is poor.
So when Sonko charges us 400 shillings,
and he's increased the
increased
the parking.
To park, you wash your car. I want to talk the truth about this. You wash your car very well. You have washed your car from home. Mm-hmm. You have spent about 10 shillings, about 1,000 bob to wash your car. Mm-hmm. You want to go and park in the city CBD of Nairobi. Mm-hmm. And see what happens. See what happens. You are parking in a muddy place where by the time you come back from the office to take your car, you regret why you paid 1,000 shillings in the morning. The mud is everywhere. The water, in fact, the parking slots, there is water. So you have to calculate, carry 2 pairs of, the costs increase. You have to buy boots. You have to change them. You are killing time. You have arrived very well in town, in the city. You want to go to be in the office. Your boss finds you seated on the chair. And guess what happens? That's what the life we have in Africa, medium. Therefore, for me, the truth is this. If I know things are not going to work, I pack and ship. Mm-hmm. I don't stick there. The essence of my statement tonight is this. This morning is, if you know the elections in Uganda will be rigged, why do you take part? Mm-hmm. Nigerians taught us a lesson. They knew Buhari was going to rig the election. 58 million Nigerians passed a message, don't go.
That's a very strong message.
It was a very clear message for Buhari.
An indictment on
time has come in Africa for us to have what we call silent opposition, not rooftop opposition.
Maybe opposition changing strategies in how they are passing their messages.
No, that is basically cannot change. If you tell him don't shout, just keep quiet.
Just walk to work. We see what happens.
No, don't even walk. Sit at home.
Yes.
Nobody is going to pull you from the house to go and vote. Don't vote. If you don't vote, that's it. Have you seen what Tanzanians have done? CCM is in trouble. We have to go and defend it. Some of us who love Tanzania so much. You get my point? Some of us who love Tanzania so much have to defend the CCM. Because the Americans have come for it. Mm-hmm. The British have come for CCM now, for Magufuli. The French have come for Magufuli. Mm-hmm. They are going to dismember it. They are going to dismember. I told you to watch anyone who has got a revolutionary party in Africa, a revolutionary party in Africa. I'm happy that Kenya doesn't. The KANU is phased off.
KANU is just dying a natural death. But I don't know what would be your response to Agot Awany. Thank you so much for writing to us this morning. You're saying Africa must be taken over by fresh ideas and dismantling of tribalism in the continent in order for us to move towards adventure of inventions. And we see a lot of these parties, perhaps what you're saying now, they might not be having the fresh ideas that perhaps the younger generation, especially in Africa, is agitating for. So I don't know how you would respond to that.
Which generation? This one.
Us.
You are agitating on whose money?
We just want change.
Whose money?
And fresh ideas.
Whose money? Show me one African political opposition party that has money of its wrong. Show me.
So that is the beginning of our problems then?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Today, I don't know why you wanted it. You only wanted me to elongate the struggle. You have all the answers today. Which opposition party has money? Mr. Bob Wine went to America to look for money in order to come and stand for an election in Africa. So are you doing it for Africa or for yourself or for Ugandans? Which opposition party? Some parties in my country have no even a fax machine or internet for you to send information.
That is your party in
Uganda People's Congress.
Yes.
I'm in a sorry state. My party, because I've never changed and I will never change. Because when I meet Obote down there, he will be very annoyed with me.
You don't answer
questions
from the dead.
Wherever he is, the militant will be very upset that I left you the mantle. I saw you from Eastern as the only vanguard man who can stand up and never be betrayed, never betray the struggle of the people of Uganda. Obote will get annoyed with me. So I rather stick where I am, even when my party does not have even an internet.
Let's start by getting your
Wi-Fi,
an office so that they can have
the office. They have been fighting over the property up to now.
So your party is divided.
Too much, even beyond the division. You don't call it division. It is a warfare.
Okay, so we'll be praying for your party in the meantime. In the meantime,
it is gone.
It's gone, and the young man has taken your colors.
Obote's son is gone that side. Another diplomat called Olaro Tun went that side. The only man who did not go away is me. I stayed in the middle. Because when I come, I will grab it.
And Bobby Wine grabbed your colors.
Yes. No, you see? No, the colors, he can use them.
For now.
Because as long as he wears red, I'm happy.
Okay.
Very happy. Because that is the color I wore 1969 to date. How many years are those?
1968.
I became a member of Uganda People's Congress in 1969.
51.
Yes. Here we are. If he can wear it and today walk with it, hallelujah. This is Christmas. I'm wrapped in it. There is no need of a Christmas tree here. Miriam has woken up, told me to wear this shirt. It is not my liking. So, coming back today, the legacy. The legacy of the president.
Doctor, let me just cut you short there. You mentioned that lady. I think I must have seen that in
Cherotich.
but I didn't see it to the end. I was sleepy. I went to sleep. But you mentioned, I had her say that she has not read the BBI. She does not care about the BBI. The whole process was flawed. Then why is she even talking about it? If you have no interest about something,
thank you.
Why do you think?
Thank you very much, Miriam. My worry about some people in Kenya is they want to fight the president even when he has no problem. When he has a problem, they don't fight him. But when he has no problem, they fight him. Okay? Nobody has sat down and said, Kenyatta did not give us the big four. Have you seen? President Kenyatta brought the big four. We need food security. Then we got a thief called Kinjuri. Anariba every day. Anataka kuleta mahindi Guinea. And we have given him a flag, he's flying. Another one of water is called Cherugui. He's now in the DCI as we speak right now. You are aware. They have taken him there for questioning. But it wasn't the Cherugui, it was Kinyanjui.
Kiunjuri.
Kirungi, I don't know, what is it?
Mwangi Kiunjuri.
Okay, yeah, that guy there.
The CS for Agriculture.
That honorable is what?
Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture.
The Cabinet
Kenya.
Secretary for
Agriculture.
For maize importation.
Agriculture.
Maize importation.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, he's trying to change the docket here.
So, when you look at all these things, there is a problem. The president said agenda 4, big 4, food security, housing, universal health care, industries, manufacturing. These are the things. But when he said that, people went to look for investor. There's that investor flying to China. You know why Matiang'i is being fought? You know why Mr. Matiang'i is being fought? The contract of the police uniform.
Yeah. Earlier this year.
Why don't you speak Kenyan? Speak the truth, man. The contract of the police uniform.
Upset so many people.
It upset not so many people. Not all of us. Were you upset?
No, the people who were involved.
Was I upset?
Who are hoping to benefit from the beneficiaries.
A few, we don't want to name them.
I was happy we were saving the country. Yes.
Matiang'i saved the country money. He's being fought now.
And he said he does not want to monkey.
Yeah, because I found ladies. I found about 3 good, beautiful ladies in a hotel. At that time, they had those uniform clips. They had a booklet like this. I swear I don't want to tell you the hotel. They had a booklet, 1 Muzungu and 2 ladies. Very well connected ladies. They had a booklet.
They've become the cartel.
They were seeing this with blue uniform. Ona. So Matiang'i comes and says, no, there is a factory in Eldoret that can manufacture these things. And they said, let's try to get the uniform from Kenya. And I can see the policeman shining. He cut that. It is being fought now. It is, if you can ask the war why Matiang'i is being pointed at. Why? Who is sending these guys to point Matiang'i down? Who? The man is known. The people, the cartels that failed to get the uniform tender.
They're fighting back. And also other tenders. And also when he was in the security docket, he is in the security docket.
Yes.
A lot of people used to benefit from certain tenders.
Exactly.
They're not able to do that because our security.
Someone even goes to the extent now demeaning the minister by saying we used to do contracts together of IT. So what? Adolescence. So what?
All right.
You want in your youth, you want leadership. Is that the leadership you want?
Which one?
You stand in, people are talking, and then you just come up and say, I am this. Wait. You a leader of majority. Why don't you go and sit down and write a memo with good English?
He's not a youth.
He is.
Youth ends at 35.
He's what? He's not even 40.
He's mid-age.
No, he's not.
The leader of majority.
He's not 40.
He's 40.
No, this is a small boy about 38, 39. He's not my firstborn.
But he's not a youth.
He is not my firstborn.
But he's not
Please, look here. Please.
The definition of youth is up to 35 years.
I don't know,
yes,
but he's around there.
Yeah, so he's over youth.
You know, when youth come, if you have just passed the age, there is still some straight. Bado unafikiria nyuma. You think you're addressing students in a school. This is a serious position.
It is.
I don't know how the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tanzania failed when he went back to show the clip to Magufuli. It's very embarrassing. Another one, the same youth. Another one from Nandi. You see the Senate?
They're not youth. They're giving youth a bad name.
It's a youth. A very younger guy.
They're over 35.
I thought when we used to fly together to go to ICC in The Hague, he looked organized on the seat of the plane. Hey. He has become why? So what behavior is this?
Ndogebe here.
They don't want the legacy.
They don't want the legacy.
No,
And
they don't want.
Someone here is trying to get you into trouble. Ogebe Motchan is trying to suggest something that might get you into trouble with the president of Uganda. Ogebe, you're saying that Dr. David Matanga should lobby for removal of Museveni since he's an activist. What? You want a doctor to go back to the bush again or what? He's trying to create some trouble there. And Gat Luak.
Why don't you tell Ogebe that I was there, I finished my role,
Yes.
I brought peace,
And you moved on.
and I moved on.
Until those reforms are brought into Uganda,
Yes.
you're not interested.
Until those reforms are in the Uganda politics.
But Doctor,
Those Ugandans watching me on this television, please talk to me about something else.
outside of participating in those elections.
Yeah, but don't talk to me about elections in Uganda.
But these
Please.
reforms.
Nakumatia wonyo kutoka leo. Msizungumiza kwangu mambo ya elections na mambo ya government in Uganda, please.
All right.
Pull me out of this quagmire.
And if you have questions, just forward them to me, and I'll know how to go around it, and we'll get answers. Don't worry. Don't worry. So Gatluak and Nihiel there, you're saying the problem is essentially the same in our African homeland. They are too white is still the standard of excellence of what is right, while wise and best. I personally know a number of African presidents and ministers who will not dare to make important decisions without the guideline of white advisors, men who often know far less about the questions at hand than the presidents and their ministers, but they feel the need for a white seal of approval. Oh, that is quite deep there. A very important and pertinent question and issue there, Gatloak, you've just raised. Thank you so much for this you've written. It's like we've not yet completely been emancipated. I think we need an emancipation of our minds, because sometimes when we make decisions, as you're citing here, we think that white is a standard of excellence. White is a standard of what is right and wise and best, as you have stated there, which I think is a very bad mindset that we have here in Africa. And I think Doctor keeps saying here, because sometimes it's coming from a black person, we don't receive it. But if it was a white person saying it, then perhaps it will make more sense. So what is wrong with us, Doctor, with our mindset? Have we not had, we have all this independence in all our African states, but our minds, we have not really come out of the white man syndrome. We still honor and worship our colonists, and our mindset has not changed. What is the problem with us?
We are all lakunule. That's all I can summarize. Anybody who has read the book of Walt Senyika, The Lion and the Jewel, you will actually understand the current Africa very well. The current Africa, where each opposition goes to look for someone to come and help instead of them mobilizing people. If you know that elections are going to be rigged, just tell the people, it's okay. It's okay, don't go. Where is Idi Amin? Where is he? Where is Paul Mwanga? Where is Okero Oriem? Okero, Tito Okero. Where is Basilio Okero? Where is Obote? People should think seriously, not to injure other Ugandans with more wounds. If you look at the way when this young man stands in his car like this and it drives through Kampala, the number of people who stand out of the create attention on police. And the police, you have seen Uganda police with sticks. Even when you are doing like this, they beat you. So why do you injure your eye? For
change.
For change where? Change and go where? Uganda remains your country. God has set a timetable. It will come and pass. Hallelujah. Are you a Christian? I am a Christian. You're a Christian. It will pass. I've asked you, where are these guys? In 1978, 79, 80, some of us were in the bush fighting who? Idi Amin. Where is he? Where is Rule? Where is Binaisa? Where are they? So why do you kill Ugandans? Me, not me. I don't want to be involved. Have you seen my concept? It's better to tell the truth. Since 2016, no electoral law has come into place in Uganda. Therefore, the election, whether you carry it now or that time, it will still produce violence. Besigye will go to the streets, will tell people that this thing was stolen, let's go and fight. Oh, let's demonstrate. People will die. So I am against people dying. Don't tell me I'm against Besigye. No, I'm against the people dying. Another method to tell my friends, don't go there. Watch. People have told Chamisa, for example, in Zimbabwe, get a handshake. Go and respect the president of whom the Supreme Court said he won. If your Supreme Court has said it is over, up to now, he wants the services, but he doesn't want to recognize the president. He doesn't want. So how do you get the services? Isn't it regime change mentality? That's it. Surely. You are traveling on his passport. You are in the plane calling people, I'm a Zimbabwean. And Zimbabwe Supreme Court and Zimbabwe has decided Emerson Mnangagwa is the president. So why do you now tell your MPs not to attend parliament? And they come to take allowance. Have you seen what is happening in Zimbabwe? They take that allowance, then they come and smile, allowance. Dollar. When it comes to saying, is he your president? They say no. Is that not double standards? Mm-hmm. Why do you punish the people who elected you? Instead, you should have just refused.
Because the same electoral commission presided over your
election
as a member of parliament.
The guys in Tanzania have done it very well. the opposition, Chadema and others, they were organized. They said, ndugu mfenzi, hii mambo tutawachia CCM, msiende kwa kura, msipige kura.
But what will they achieve with such a movement?
They have achieved. If you, who was 199.9%, don't you look back and say...
That is, if you... Yes.
Don't you look back? The good thing with Tanzania is Tanzanians are united. They are united. There is no ethnicity. Therefore, there will be no conflict. Whatever Tanzania do.
So they'll be able to look at
yes.
the results and see the
yes.
way forward. Okay. But that's a good thing for Tanzanians.
Unaona strategy hiyo inafanya kazi. Inafanya kazi sana. They just say, don't vote. Don't take part. Chijiji, CCM. Hile, CCM. Hile, CCM. Hile, CCM. Kwisha. And the CCM did not cancel the elections. They went ahead. Since they had refused, there's no law in Tanzania that tells you, or Uganda that compels you to go and vote, like Australia. Is there? It is only Australia and some place, I think Israel, that you have to go and vote by law. You must show that you voted. But there's no law in Tanzania that shows. that says you must go and vote. And in Uganda, you can stay home. And then the man announced he's 99, like Kagame. Eh?
Yes. Like Kagame.
Kagame, at least there was opposition. Some people stood, they even lost.
Opposition on paper.
Yes, yeah. If you look at the Rwanda one, if you look at the Rwanda one, unless you have been hired by Angel Gabriel, why do you go to stand in the Rwanda election? Niambie, are you Angel Gabriel? How will you win?
There's no level playing field.
How will you win?
And the president has to give you a green light for you to run for the presidency.
And you know, at the moment, in Rwanda, even if they beat you, nobody will make noise. There is no Muzungu who wants to destabilize Rwanda.
They're holding it like an egg.
Yeah.
And he's taking advantage
Man takes
of that.
over our trucks. The trucks are sitting there.
No, and people are just looking the other side.
Yeah, nobody can even tell him, but my friend, why are our trucks there? We have left it to God. Some of us are becoming even poorer because everything is stuck. It's finished. You know? It's gone. Thank you, God is here. So you leave it. So who are you to go and start an election campaign in Rwanda? To do what? How will you achieve it? Kenya is a democracy, a very good democracy. You allow people, there are people allowed. You see here, you have seen a Bishop Mudavadi is also speaking.
Why are you calling him bishop?
Mudavadi is a bishop. For me, I've maintained this up to the end. That Mudavadi is not a politician. He's a bishop.
He's quite sober.
No, he's not soberness. He's bishop. Theology. He should have studied theology.
Is it in his delivery?
Not even, his thoughts are more or less of a churchgoer.
He's very organized and sober.
Is it organized?
Yes.
No.
And sober.
I don't see organizational structure. I see theologian structures.
I see.
That's why I have nicknamed Bishop Mudavadi. People can call him anything, but he's a bishop.
Because he's sober-minded.
He's not.
We saw it during the launch of the BBI.
Yeah, was that? You stand in the middle to collect what is falling off. You call that level-minded?
I think he's one of the people who
level-minded
actually listened to, and his speech made a lot of sense to a lot of Kenyans.
Because if you are speaking like a bishop, you can be listened to.
Because he's cool.
In this country,
cool, calm, collected.
In this country, if you come out like a Mudavadi,
you're either Mudavadi or Murkomen. So which one would you rather? I
would rather go with Nani.
I'd rather Mudavadi. He's very sober-minded.
It is here. The newspaper is here. It's now said. You see, Kenyans better know this. The legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, he must work out methods that can contain such things. You know, this man has replaced, is now the boss of the Western liking.
Our bishop.
Mudavadi funding is going to come from George Soros. He went and met them. He came back a polished man.
Very sober.
Very sober. For me, I would not prefer to do this. I prefer this. Let's talk about this. But the thing is there. When they were setting it, he did not refuse. You see?
Democracy at play.
So, he comes in now and says, you see, the truth behind the handshake now, it was for two people. So but the anger is on Raila. And the anger is on Uhuru Kenyatta.
They felt blindsided.
Yes. because Uhuru Kenyatta, he says, shortchanged him. Raila shortchanged him.
Them.
So look, a bishop always comes in the middle to speak. I don't know to be there, but I don't want to go high, but I'm here.
But
I'm the likely man who was a victim.
so he's non-committal.
Oh, this morning you're bright.
I'm always bright. Come on.
You know, this one.
Don't be
is
shy.
it? Look here.
You and your shirt. Stop it.
This one, you are extra. Miriam, non-committal.
Non-committal.
Tell Kenyans where you stand. Usiseme, oh, the handshake. The anger of handshake. Now, what you know what he's trying to do? He's shifting towards the Ruto. He's trying to tell Ruto that you and I can manage these people. Because the Open Society Foundation have already seen through where they can come in and help. This is a tribal party.
A tribal party.
Yes.
For the Luyas.
Yeah. So no, not only Luyas is from his Vihiga only.
No, okay.
The chairman, the secretary general, all of them, they are from, himself is from Vihiga.
So soon we'll see Boni Halwale coming back there, or what will happen?
Yeah, in fact, it's Boni Halwale could run. I don't know. So it's not worth it. I don't think he has convinced.
He does not have a national appeal, that is for sure.
It's a tribal party.
So maybe he needs to work on
this
that.
time I've liked Moses.
Utangula.
Yes. Yes, is upright.
I think it's very strategic.
Only this one is one. Moses, you got it. Moses is very upright on this. On the BBI, he has been straightforward. He knows that's the only way that he can remain relevant in the politics of Kenya. But this one will fail.
Right.
Very badly.
But I like that he's disagreeing, but he's not disrupting the process.
No, he is now.
Oh, he is now.
Have you seen? He is. He better goes to Raila and sort them out. Than now, he's saying people are paralyzing Kenyans. He's the one paralyzing Kenyans.
So he's bringing in-house NASA problems.
Yeah.
Same as Jubilee are bringing in-house Jubilee problems.
And then come as an alternative springboard liked by NGOs. Have you seen how NGOs playing in Mozambique elections? Ended up with a Renamo candidate. So when the Renamo and the Frelimo started to quarrel, another man emerged in the middle. And that's Mudavadi.
All right, so that is apparently the man to watch.
We are analyzing the newspapers in Nairobi, so don't kill us.
That is a man to watch.
He's a man, not to watch, he's a man to make sure that he's polarizing Kenya even more.
Who will disrupt the whole system.
Yeah, he's just waiting for who falls from Jubilee. Then he say, I told you, come here.
The disgruntled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not very good politics.
But I don't think, because he does not have a national appeal. That is for sure.
That's why he wants to hang on.
His ability to.
That's why he wants to hang on a man like Ruto who has a national appeal.
Oh, so he's leaning more towards
No.
Ruto. Ruto does not. He has a national appeal.
Of course, he's in Jubilee. You shouldn't
the
write.
fact that he is in Jubilee.
You don't write him off.
He does not.
He's a very serious contender for the seat. Don't write him off.
Yes, he is. He's a serious contender.
Yes. The only person who can give him a runner for his money is Ogwambo. That's why there's this fight. Let's be very honest on that. He is somewhere there. He attracts.
He does.
Yes. And that's why you see the sharpness. They sharpen each other. They harass each other with Ogwambo. The only man who can now say that this is do or die is Ogwambo, Baba. And he's going to be on the ballot. This Baba here, I know him for a long time, from 1980 to Mina Mujua. And I tell Kenyans every day here, they think I'm lying. I know him. He has never insulted me. He's my friend, quietly. He's my friend. But it's me who has been giving him barbs. But for him, he never answers Matanga.
He's a statesman.
Yes. And he has never told people to beat me. Like this other one. His peers, when we meet, it's okay. Because he has told them, don't. Matanga is a friend. He has suffered. Yeah, you see, that is the truth about Ogwambo. He has got that heart of a father. But there are people, younger people. If you, for example, if you find Matanga and Murkomen in the same bus at night,
going where?
Destination not known. Hey. You can see what he has sent. He has sent me a tweet. I said, okay, it's all right.
Murkomen sent you a tweet.
Hey, he hammers me on Twitter. I keep quiet. I just asked, I said, but please, stop, cool down. Adolescence is, you pass that stage of being a teenager, rising up because you have seen a suit. You know, there are people who just go to shops.
So you told him that?
Yes.
That is passive-aggressive. So
me?
Yes.
Yes, with him is my friend.
Oh, so you understand?
I tell him the truth. No, with Murkomen, I will say it. Mm-hmm. Even if we meet in Intercon, I tell him, boss, don't behave that way, please. Mm-hmm. Eh? Mm-hmm. Don't. You are a leader of majority. Behave with decorum.
Yeah, that the position requires some.
You think that Tanzanian foreign minister? That's why he left. The man left without even the national anthem when they were singing. You didn't see him there. He had gone. Mambo mbaya. Eh?
Yeah.
Mambo mbaya. You can't do this. Anyway, time for now the legacy. Let's look at the president's legacy. We have 2 years left. This is coming to the end, and we have 2 left. His Excellency must decide on priorities. One of the priorities is to live a peaceful Kenya. The other programs can be followed by other people. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I see now. A united Kenya, because already whatever you suggest now becomes sour. BBI came, we thought everybody was going to sit down and cool and write. People have cut it to pieces. Mm-hmm. It's like the Bishop of York, Bishop Sentamu, my brother-in-law, my relative, got his collar and cut it to pieces with a scissor in front of the BBC. You saw that? Mm-hmm. Because he said until Mugabe is gone, he will not wear the collar.
So now is he wearing the collar now?
Yes, he returned it.
Okay, he got his wish.
The Archbishop of York, the first black man who almost came close to becoming the Archbishop of the Church of England.
Church of England. So what was his problem with Mugabe? He's a man of cloth. Why is he?
He did that. He hated Mugabe. He removed it. I went to his house. I said, how could you do this on national television? He told me, David, you. So this is a man of God. When a man tells you like that, I got away. I used to pray in his church. Near Camberwell, there was a church around there, South Node, where he used to preach. I used to go there. My friend, because it's the only Anglican church I used to follow. But during when we went out to drink tea, then during tea break, he came for me specifically. Because I used to support Mugabe in London. He told me, you, Hey, then I said, Bishop, have you, when he said, you have forgotten I was a military man. He was a soldier. He became the Archbishop of York. You know, in London, you have to serve in the army, then you become a priest. All those things, you know, that's why democracy has been strong. In churches, you talk of churches in London. My dear, the churches in London are as a result of what? The churches in London are as a result of what? Strong men, military men. All these archbishops had to fight in the Second World War. That's why there is strong democracy. And the culture that Kenya is building here today of getting ex-men back to institutions, if you grow it 5 years to come, you will have a discipline. If the office is as tall as 26 stories, the general manager sits up. You who is working down say, boss, don't bring this thing here, he's watching. That discipline, you have grown in a home where there is discipline. Yes, even where you are seated right now here.
Near Murkomen's friend.
Yes, when near Murkomen's friend. But when you see, when you think of Dad, you want unafuata nyayo ile alikuambia. Thank you very much, viewers. The legacy of His Excellency, the President of Republic of Kenya, help him. It has achieved. Huduma centers, it has achieved. So many roads, infrastructure, it has tried. Because corruption, it has fought bit of it. We can see people arraigned to court, people resigned, it has achieved. Medicine, some hospitals are working very well. The resemblance of medicine in hospitals, it has achieved that universal health if it pushes on. When you look at the food security, we have only the lack of managing it, but still Kenya still has some food, and it can use its management skills to have the food stored for some time for future generations. That can be changed. When you look at the housing, everywhere people try to get low-cost houses. It might not be possible to get the full scale of the houses, but one day it will be got. And I think there are obstacles. One of the obstacles is politics. Politics that is being played on a daily basis and a campaign, that everything that the president has suggested has been contested. Thank you. Another point is the court. The courts have not played a role to the expectations of the people of Kenya, that when they arrest people, sentence them, they put injunctions on various projects that Jubilee Party has not been, government has not been able to deliver their projects in full as envisaged. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And we have, I think, some about 18 minutes to the top of the hour before we complete the show. So I'll perhaps take us through the headlines across Africa very quickly, and then we can see what we can look at so far. Thank you so much, all of you. Continue writing to us and engaging with us. We start with Gabon, where the former chief of staff for Gabon's President Ali Bongo has been arrested, along with two other ministers who recently lost their job. The public prosecutor said Brice Lacrouche Ailihanga and the former ministers of oil and energy were picked up in connection with corruption investigation. There has been no word so far from the three men. And we go to Zimbabwe, where the United Nations said yesterday it was procuring food assistance for 4.1 million Zimbabweans, a quarter of the population in a country where shortages are being exacerbated by runaway inflation and climate-induced drought. Zimbabwe, once the bread basket of Southern Africa, is experiencing its worst economic crisis in a decade, marked by soaring inflation and shortages of food, fuel, medicines, and electricity. And still in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe's former President Robert Mugabe left behind $10 million, 10 cars, a farm, and several homes, but apparently no will, his estate revealed yesterday. The state-run Herald newspaper reported Tuesday that Mugabe's daughter Bona registered the estate with the High Court on behalf of the family. The family's lawyer said they are still searching for a will, but if one is not found, the estate will be divided between former First Lady Grace Mugabe and 4 children. Mugabe died September at a Singapore hospital 2 years after he was forced out of office by his ZANU-PF party and the military. Mugabe has been rumored to have amassed a massive fortune during his 37-year rule. A 2001 diplomatic cable sent by the U.S. Embassy in Harare and released by WikiLeaks said Mugabe was rumored to have held $1 billion worth of assets in Zimbabwe and overseas, which include everything from secret accounts in Swaziland and Channel Islands and Bahamas and castles in Scotland. But that has not been proved to be true. And we go to Nigeria, where Nigeria's anti-corruption agency says it has arrested 23 people undergoing training in internet fraud scams in a remote village in the south of the country. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says the suspects aged between 19 and 35 were being trained on how to carry out romance and trading scams as well as identity theft. This is the biggest so-called internet fraud academy that the EFCC has busted in its long battle against cybercrime. A total of 34 laptops and 21 mobile phones were seized during the raid on the building in the southern Akwa Ibom state, in the EFCC has said. And we go to Liberia, where Liberia's lawmakers have been asked to return from their annual break for a special session of parliament to discuss issues of pressing national concern. At the request of President George Weah, Parliamentary Press Secretary Isaac Red has said Mr. Red did not elaborate, but media speculation is that Mr. Weah, a former football star who became president last year, wants Parliament to hastily authorize the printing of $35 billion Liberian dollars to pay salaries to employees ahead of Christmas. There's trouble here in Liberia, Doctor, and we will talk about it. And then we go to Sudan, where a deposed Sudan President Omar al-Bashir, already on trial over economic crimes during his 30-year reign, faces a possible death sentence over his role in the 1989 coup that removed the democratically elected government of Sadiq al-Mahdi from power. During a busy week that he has tried to build confidence in the judiciary following the ouster of President Omar al-Bashir, Attorney General Taj Asir Alber said he had formed a committee to investigate the June 30th, 1989 military coup which led to Mr. Bashir being the president. The committee's findings will form the basis of prosecution of the Islamic movement leaders, including civilians and military personnel, for undermining the constitutional system. The charge has no limitation for time lapses and is punishable by death or life imprisonment. We go to South Sudan, where the United Nations mission in South Sudan says it has deployed some of its troops to Alor County to try to halt communal clashes. The United Nations said nearly 80 people have been killed and more than 100 injured in the past few days of fighting between Gak and Manuel communities. And still in South Sudan, and a senior South Sudan government official has said the country supports 32 states governing system, and any moves to increase or decrease will cause instability. Speaking at a 2-day IGAD consultative meeting in Juba on Sunday, Minister of Cabinet Affairs Dr. Martin Elia Lumuro said these states have been established and they are working. We feel that to disrupt this number of states will be a disaster to the country, and it will cause not only instability but insecurity. The people of those states were already used to it. They have their own governments. End of quote. The 2-day IGAD consultative meeting was facilitated by South Africa's Deputy President David Mabuza and is expected to lead to a final status on the number of boundary of states. We go to Cameroon, where a Swiss Cameroonian activist Nathalie Yamb says she has been deported from Ivory Coast after being accused of engaging in activities against the national interest. Ms. Yamb, who is an advisor to Ivory Coast main opposition leader Mamadou Coulibaly, was a fierce critic of France's influence on its former colonies. She tweeted a photo of herself in a plane following her expulsion from the West African state. And still in Cameroon, and local elections in Cameroon will take place in February 2020 as planned. The authorities in Cameroon has said, and they have dismissed any possibility of another postponement of the vote. Two leading opposition parties in Cameroon have declared they will boycott the February 2020 polls to protest the government's failure to end the conflict in the English-speaking regions of the country and to effect political reforms. And the latest from the Kenya-Somalia row, and Kenya's president has said Kenyan forces will remain part of the African Union mission in Somalia and leave the country when it's secure and stable. The president's statements came at a time Kenya's forces are facing hostility in parts of Somalia for their support of the Jubaland administration, which the Somali government has refused to recognize. And we end with Biafra, where the police in Anambra has declared Mr. Afenyi Ejiofor, the lawyer of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, wanted over alleged murder of two police officers on Monday, December 2nd, 2019. A state commissioner of police, John Abang, said Ejiofor was wanted for alleged case of conspiracy, murder, treasonable felony, arson, and armed robbery. The two victims are Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area Command, and Mr. Oliver Abe, an Assistant Superintendent of Police. And so that is the latest from Africa this afternoon. Thank you much for joining us. Good afternoon. So a lot is happening in Africa today.
Thank you very much. And I don't think there's much to add, apart from two things. South Sudan is making an argument. Riek wants more states. And that's where the peace lies.
Oh, more than 32 they already have.
Yes. He wants more states. And why they have not agreed. And that is the breaking point. Two, the UN should think of Article 705. I think you better read it out and find out what the Article 705 of the United Nations Charter, what does it say? Of changing UNMISS into an enforcer, not a peacekeeper. Because there's no peacekeeping. You can see the reports indicate people are fighting now.
Killing people.
Are killing each other.
People are dying, yes.
So UN should come up, change the method of a peace enforcer under Article 705 of the United Nations Charter. Full stop. Don't pretend about it. There's no peace in Sudan to be a peacekeeping force.
In South Sudan.
Let's have a peace enforcing force. Change the mandate of UNMISS into a shooting UNMISS that enforces the agreement. That is the time when peace will return in South Sudan. Finished. Two, I'm cutting short today. The question of Ethiopia meddling in Jubaland, which is creating tension, is real. Dr. Abe erred. If I were him, I would not have rushed into the decisions that he made. First, opening the border with Eritrea, when Eritrea does not even allow the people to go there. When they go there, they are beaten, they are tortured, they are imprisoned. People are not moving freely between Ethiopia and Eritrea to see their relatives who were cut in the middle. That he erred. He moved too fast. He should have waited. Secondly, on Somalia, is coming to play a method of encouraging war than pacifying Somalia. He's encouraging war than pacification of Somalia. That he wants Somalia to remain unstable instead of Somalia becoming stable. Whose interest is he? I always put this question. Whenever I'm doing my research, I want to know whose interest is it? Just as I put a question yesterday, whose interest is Djibouti? Who is telling Djibouti to oppose Kenya in the United Nations Security Council slot?
And in IGAD now.
Who is behind it? I like Dr. Warungu this morning. Among the professors who sat on the bench, including my great friend Peter Kagwanja, they missed the point. And the point is this: they don't talk the truth. You see, yesterday I quoted something for you. It is better for you to take me. Don't bring falsehood and lies near me. Let me die with poverty. Don't take me God to poverty, and don't take me God to riches. Give me my daily bread. I'll survive. That's Proverbs. I want to be honest that Dr. Warungu summarized so many things today on NTV, one of the channels, in this morning. I was very, very impressed with his knowledge of what this region is. Most of the people were very academic. That's it. That's the best I can tell you today.
And Judge, I know you're done, but I still want to hear something here. I think it's a burning issue for me. Shocked me this morning when I was reading about deposed Sudan President Omar al-Bashir, who is already on trial over economic crimes during his 30-year reign. And now he faces a possible death sentence over his role in the 1989 coup that removed the democratically elected government of Sadiq al-Ahmadi. And also now, he will be prosecuted together with the Islamic movement leaders, including civilians and military personnel who I know are still serving in the Sudan's government. Will this destabilize Sudan, and is it a very great move? And who gets to benefit? That question that you said. Who gets to benefit?
This government, this civilian prime minister will be overthrown. I've just told you. He won't last 6 months. He'll be overthrown. And that ends the program for me from my side.
All right.
He's going to be overthrown.
Yes.
Can I explain more? He's going to be overthrown. He is creating another coup where he himself is going to visit Mr. Bashir. He will be with Bashir in the same prison. Just put your legs, your eyes there. If he's lucky, he will be overthrown very soon. Because if you first, the things happening in Sudan are amusing. You dissolve some people's party completely. Surely, you now tell people not to assemble in that party. Then ban all the parties.
The same thing Bashir was doing.
No, but you do wrongs don't make.
I'm saying, yes.
Yeah.
Whatever they were accusing him of doing, they're doing now.
They are doing it now. It's not very good. You don't ban the party and allow yourselves, you have not settled in office. The generals that you want to marshal are the same ones who helped Bashir to overthrow. And these are the generals who have just given way for you to be a minister handling a briefcase, running on their behalf. They will come and overthrow you. So give it 6 to 9 months. I have followed the Sudan politics from Nimeri, Jaffa Nimeri, all this up to now, Al-Mahdi, Sadiq Al-Mahdi, Turabi, my greatest friend, the man I admire the most, Turabi, a very good scholar. I know in and out. I know Bashir. The politics of Sudan is in my head. There is a coup coming.
In Sudan.
It is going to come, and at this time, even this prime minister you see here might not survive it.
Mr. Hamdok.
Whatever you call him, I don't know. He will not survive it. Because what he's doing, instead of healing the country, he's widening the gaps that could come to overthrow him, to swallow him.
Perhaps create more instability in the country.
It really will. The country is already divided between Islamists, professionals, radicals, and then generals. If you have a cocktail of such people in your country,
trouble.
You must walk peacefully, Mr. Prime Minister.
Tread very carefully.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know what you
have
mean.
I been useful?
You're quite useful, but Nigerians are known. Sorry, if you're watching there, you're from Nigeria, but they're known to be the best fraudsters in the world. So apparently, yesterday it was discovered there is a fraud academy where you're taught how to fraud people through romance and other ways. That's why they have the best fraudsters in the world. So Nigeria's anti-corruption agency said it arrested 23 people undergoing training in internet fraud scams in a remote village in the south of Nigeria. And they said this is the biggest so-called internet fraud academy that the EFCC has busted in its long battle against cybercrime. And so they were taught the suspect would be charged once investigation were concluded. It added, people are being trained to commit romance fraud, usually through profiles, and piece together information such as wealth and lifestyle in order to manipulate the victims and things like that. So if you're wondering why we have the best scammers in the world, they have an academy for that. It's a profession. I'm shocked, but not quite. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Miriam. God bless you. God bless all of you. See you when you see us.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.